Hi, James Craddock here. I've alluded to 4DStory. My business is 4DStory LLC, right? And this is the impetus of what I believed I could do with story when I first started, until I realized the applications that story engineering actually could help. And now I realize story, no matter what you ask me, I'm always going to bring it back to story and some element of story, because I find the connections just to be absolutely, I said it in the last video, inexhaustible. And they absolutely always come back to this line of, of story. A friend of mine and a business partner told me, I don't know, a couple months ago, that in what he is doing, absolutely everything he is doing as the chief information officer of a major hospital comes back to connections. Whether he's making physical networking connections or software connections or connections with people to solve problems, no matter what it is that he is doing on a daily basis, and he applied it to, philosophically applied it to everything that we all do, that's what we're doing. I'm making this video to make a connection with you. We write stories to make connections. Connections is what it's all about. Content marketing, SEO, whatever kind of marketing you're doing, video marketing, it's all with the intention of making a connection, right? You know, people get together to watch the Super Bowl. What are they doing? They're making a connection. They're hoping their team connects with the ball, connects with the touchdown, connects with the scoreboard, connects with the big win. It's all about connections. When you boil it down to that, you can really shortcut a lot of the things that you're trying to accomplish on a daily basis by, instead of taking the roundabout method to discover you're just trying to make two connections, look at it as, hey, I'm just trying to make a connection. All right. So that shout out goes to Christopher Friel. Right on, bud. Now, listen, 4DStory is the ability to take a fictional story, produce it in a certain way, leveraging the strategies of kinetic avatars and the 8 characters in your marketing message, so that through the characters you're able to identify the marketing message you're putting out there. You're able to identify who it is you're speaking to, and across these 8 characters you're able to put them in play so that as the story unfolds, both in the business, in the marketplace, in the client, and also in your fictional story, those characters are able to absorb the very the micro emotions that go on, and they're able to channel it back through that fictional story, and as it broadcasts out on the web and through social media, it's able to affect the customer. Here's how it works. We create a fictional story, and then we broadcast the plot in a single place on the web. So if all you ever got was that, blog post of the weekly blog post, or a daily, however often you want to do it, of the story, then you would be able to follow along the story. And embedded in those characters and in that setting and that scene, as it unfolds, would be the message and the theme of the product or the business or the brand or even the personality that was promoting it. And what makes the story cool is that the characters are created through a metaphysical process that has an underpinning of story to it, that allow the characters, when we stay in character, to represent part of the marketing message without ever actually, sitting there advertising to you. But then we go a step further. And that step further is that we actually architect each character. So the 4-dimensional story is playing out on the web on a blog post on a weekly basis. You read through it and go, I know where I am in this story. It comes to you on your through your email or whatever the case may be via RSS, and you're like, I know where I'm at in the story. That's really cool. Can't wait to see the next plot scene unfold. As somebody reads that, in their social media stream from that week till the next plot scene unfolds are embellishments of that plot scene. There's characterizations, there's settings, there's a million different things that we can do to leverage the technologies that are out there, push them out across social media, and you're getting in your media stream another dimension of the scene that is current in the story. What's even cooler, if that's a word, is that it's integrating with the current pop culture, with the current stories, with what's happening. If your character's getting ready to fly to Paris and suddenly there's a terrorist attack, as we just recently experienced, that character has the opportunity to react to that international news. You know what that does if you're an internet marketer and you're somebody that understands how to latch on to that kind of publicity? Yeah, it takes that character and suddenly makes that one scene viral because it's being picked up, the hashtags are being used, it's being able to ride the wave of reality intermingled, integrated as we call it in our trademark story integrated marketing, integrated into the story. Networking possibilities are off the charts. You know why? Because if you want to reach out to a company or a celebrity or somebody that doesn't currently have your attention, do you realize that putting them in your story and suddenly making them do something awesome gets their attention? And there's lots of ways to do that through Twitter and Facebook and various media sources. Yeah, it really does. And if you build an app where somebody can, on their phone, they can follow a particular character, you can embellish just in the app more attributes of that character and give more insight. See, we sit down and watch a movie, it goes from one end to the other, an hour and 58 minutes go by and that's the end of the movie. Sure, they have extras, sure they have things at the end of the DVD, you can look behind the scenes and whatever, but what we're talking about is you get to get up close and personal with the team, we call them a 4D studio, that's producing that story. And you get to interact with them and say, hey, we'd like to know more about her wardrobe. She wore that magnificent dress to the ball. What else does she have in her closet? And you get to interact with that character. How amazing is that? You get to say, she doesn't look good in red. I'm thinking she needs to wear more black. And you get to actually influence the story. Of course, it's up to the writer how much they're going to allow you to influence them. But in a regular, without stopping and sitting and watching and doing any driving to a theater or anything like that, just in your mobile stream, this story is building up in you. And you're getting to interact with it. Well, what's even cooler is we have architects, and an architect is an actual human being who plays the part of that particular four-dimensional character on the internet. And they have the character has his own Twitter page and Facebook page, and they actually have a clout score, and that architect's job is to stay in character and represent that character to the public and interact with the public in character at all times. And now you're actually part of the story. Does that make sense? You're integrated into this fictional story that's coming across social media in such a way that your energy, your emotions, and your excitement infuse their way into that story. Why? Because we created the story with a known infrastructure that not only allows us to market and sell products so that we can pay for the process of the story being produced without having commercials, if you will, and annoying ads and all that kind of stuff. But rather, but it also integrates the emotional level. See, if I have 100,000 followers following my story about a bunny rabbit, I know the nature of those followers. And I know what it is that I can sell to them, and I know what marketing messages to use. I know the least amount of influence I have to put to bear on a call to action to get them to respond. You know what that does for them? First of all, it ensures that products that are coming their way are meant for them. And we won't get into attribute marketing. We won't get into my empowerment program and how all of this feeds into the ability to have auto replenishment in your life. We'll talk about that when we talk about the empowerment program, but further down the page. But what this does is it ensures that whoever's reading that story and following it and liking it and commenting on it, that they're tuned into a very specific emotion. And what's even cooler is specific scenes. Every time we write a scene, we write it with a known starting emotion, ending emotion, and transitional emotion. Every scene has a motivation. Every single scene has a purpose. And so when it comes across, we know what emotion we're bringing up in that person. So we know how to monetize it. This allows for a whole new level of content marketing. Every time I hear people talk about how do I get my business known and how do I, touch people and how do I do this and how do I do that, it always comes back, in my mind, to hey, you just need a four-dimensional story that's out there entertaining them, striking the right chords and bringing them along on the right emotion, and then having your products. Look, they do it on TV all the time. You don't think certain products get sold through certain commercial shows? Fishing shows, you know, they don't sell hair products, unless fishermen are worried about their hair at times, I don't know. But they sell fishing related products, outdoorsy kind of products, etc. It's that same concept, except it's brought into this micro level. And the cool part about it is, it doesn't interrupt the person who's receiving it. They're just watching a 4D story on their mobile. It's just coming through in little bits. They get the, you know, our plot scenes, you read through them, and they're just a few, not even a page. It's just enough for them to recognize where they are in the storyline. Then they get a video. Then they get some other cool interaction. Maybe there's a survey that goes out and they interact with that. It's all up to the 4D studio producing each independent four-dimensional story. You know, I think, granted, movies will still be here and the technology will still make that kind of thing awesome and whatnot, but this idea of a four-dimensional story is going to take hold. And it's going to be a new paradigm for entertainment, for marketing, for promotion. It's going to give reality stars a way to increase their visibility. It's going to give movie stars a way to let you know who they really are without letting you know who they really are. Gives them a way to express themselves that maybe currently the paparazzi and the media and whatnot oppress. It's going to give the coach and the mentor the ability to take a person and say, all right, we're going to cast a vision of where you want to be in life into a character. And then we're going to put that character out on this platform. One of these 4D studios, because see, you can't write a 4D story without a 4D character. It has to be all contained. They could pick up that 4D character and write them into a story, and now all of a sudden that person's greatest vision that they can't seem to find a way to get to, this character starts living that vision. They get to follow that character and recognize through completely disconnected possibilities happening via the story, via the writer, via the interaction, via everything. And now a mentor or a coach has a powerful element, if you will, a carrot to dangle in front of that person to guide them to their vision. Maybe they have an angst, maybe they have a debilitating story going on in their head. They could take that thing and cast it into a villainous four-dimensional character, and that character could find its way into a story, and in the end that character could be killed, hence taking with them their angst. I know that sounds pretty far-fetched, but you know what? When we sit and work with people and counsel and do these kind of things, that's what we're doing. We're always trying to get them to cast a vision and make it as real as possible so that we could do something with it, either take it to a greater extent or extinguish it. 4D Story has more possibility than I think any entertainment medium out there. And the platform that we have make it so everybody can get involved. You could be an architect, meaning a voice on the internet. You could be the face of a character. You know, a single character could have an illustrator who created the character. It could have a storyteller who dimensionalizes the character by adding dimension to that character through our different archetype building blocks. You could have an architect who's the voice of the character. I think I said that. A model who is the image of the character. You could have 5 or 6 people all operating a single character. You know how much dimension that gives that character? It's an exciting time. I don't know where four-dimensional storytelling is going to go completely. I don't know where the web's going to go. But this is the footprint I've laid out there and the impetus that I've started. Internet marketers can come along. You know, we create four-dimensional studios, 4D studios, right? That would be an internet marketer and a writer and an architect and a digital designer who makes the web pages and all of that kind of stuff. And they all get together to say, here's how we're going to produce this story. We've produced stories. We've produced the ability for stories to help monetize nonprofits. We've created 4D stories that will sell a number of different products, not just a single product. It could be selling furniture from this guy and t-shirts from that guy and blah, blah, blah. You can, once a 4D story gets popular, you can take that four-dimensional story and you can start monetizing the characters themselves on hats and monograms and shirts, whatever you want to do. You can build up a following for a 4D story in literally weeks, if not quicker, leveraging various elements of the internet. As an internet marketer, if I hand you 500,000 followers, don't you think you could monetize it? And that all comes back to the team, and the team has, their contracts in place to split it. Four-dimensional story is not mine. It's not for me. It's for all of us. Somebody's got to lay the groundwork. Somebody's going to have to come up alongside of me and say, hey, let's take this thing to the next level, I believe. I believe that there's going to have to be people recognize the possibilities and the opportunities. There's going to have to be people that want to get themselves in a position where they cooperate to make this happen. If you've not heard of the author Larry Brooks, but I loosely utilize his story engineering. Where do you think I got the name? I call myself a story engineer, right? But I got the infrastructure for creating a four-dimensional story, or for laying out a story through his novelization process called story engineering. That's the name of his books. The other one's story physics. You can look him up online, Larry Brooks. His website, his blog. He has a blog. He has a blog, and his blog is called storyfix.com. And we use his infrastructure to help. It makes it so easy for a non-writer even to lay out a story. But the entire process, the platform is there. The infrastructure is there. It's waiting on you to come in and say, how can I participate? And you can do that by going to castingcall.4dstory.com. Castingcall.4, the number, D, the letter, story, the word.com. The internet protocol for where addresses are kept. All right, so that is four-dimensional storytelling. That is one of the most robust ways that we have found to apply story. It's built upon the 7 arenas of the human experience, which is a metaphysical layer that when characters are created using this interaction, and of course the kinetic avatars model, it makes all of this work, and it becomes very robust. So if you'd like to connect with me on that, go to castingcall.4dstory.com, connect with me, and let's see how we can work together. But other than that, thanks for taking the time to listen to me ramble about 4D Story.